welcome to the Go Diamond Focus call for Monday. Always great to start off a new cycle with a record cycle in the previous. And congratulations all who participated in X-Pack program this cycle. The last cycle saw a spectacular record. New rank advancements. We haven't really been able to tally up everything yet. I did one example of one organization that I thought there might be some of the income is something this program is going to cost the company. We saw one organization grow by 100,000 in new being grouping the diamond rig. I congratulated the person only to find out that was one of 3 diamonds that broke last cycle, cycle 2. So I think that's across the board. Quite a few people really geared up one and then cycle. The numbers started to really hit people coming on board. It's my understanding that the company is going to extend the opportunity for brand new people joining to get the brand new or broker income. Don't be just yet. I think there'll be confirmation out there today. And so as that confirmation comes in, they will be. It might already be out there if you listen to the sizzle call. Company may have that in place now. So make sure at the very end of this call that you report that the update that it is confirmed that the company is extending it to advance momentum and advance growth. And so the company had promised this was going to be something unprecedented, and people were cautiously optimistic. There's been a lot of incentives, a lot of promotions in Zija, but this obviously has turned out to be something very, very different than anything that has been done previously. And as we can see from the results now, 2 cycles into it, it has dramatically changed some people's business, particularly those who engaged. And we talked about that in the previous period. To ramp up, to get yourself into action, first, one can get the maximum benefit, the maximum results from that lot of great things that are coming together for Salt Lake City. Everything from new product announcements, new tools, new promotions, new incentives, new markets, all sorts of great things that are coming together going into Salt Lake City. So it looks like this year 2013, is going to be the year where the company has taken another giant leap forward. That leap has already, to a large degree, occurred, but this is not something that we're building towards. It's already happening, and in some cases it's already happened. We've broken 2 new diamond elites thus far. My estimation is will probably be around 3 or 4 new diamond elites this year. So that tells much of the story. And then, of course, all the other ranks in between, from black diamonds to brand new silvers and golds and bronze and various other ranks in between. All of that is a reflection of a company that is well on its way to doubling in size. And we're only halfway through the year, but we still have another half of the year to go. So what does this mean to each and every one of us? It means that, if we're in a vehicle, that vehicle being ZGIP, and the vehicle is doing 100 miles an hour, and we're in that vehicle, then we ourselves are moving at 100 miles an hour because we're in that vehicle. And I say to some of my peers and some of our competitors, as we're prospecting, if you're in a vehicle, and that vehicle is doing 50 miles an hour, or maybe that vehicle is going about 10 miles an hour backwards, and in some cases 50 miles an hour backwards. In other words, the company is declining or shrinking or contracting, and you're in that vehicle, how fast are you going? The answer is, you're not going forward, you're going backwards because you're in that vehicle that is contracting, that is declining. And the best one can hope to achieve in a declining company is to go from the back of the bus, from the back of the company, and to the front of the company, to the front of that bus, but you're still in a bus that is going backwards. And so there are a number of companies out there that have stagnated during the summer. Many have done quickly. ZGIP right now setting new records, going forward at a tremendous pace in the summer. And so all of us that are in the region now who are participating in advancing our business, it doesn't matter if we have a forward, but we have forward movement. That is a lot of growth. Some who may have just been stable, really not moved forward, but experienced stability, that is some great now happen. July 2nd, go into August, and just by the nature of going into the fall. So this is a great time for us. When we think about it on a worldwide basis, in terms of all the different countries where there is growth or new markets, we can have a picture or a preview of 2014, 2015. We are certainly well on our way to $500 million in the coming years, and yes, within 3 to 5 years, $8 billion is within our sights. And that will put us into the category of only about a dozen or 2 dozen companies in the entire industry of direct sales. 60 months or sooner, which is not a long time. 5 years, what? Is this The reason that we repeat this basic every so often, because our entire business is really based on a 90-day tech pattern. Now, there's always new people on board. They run. They're working on building their story, creating that initial testimonial that's with their fear. I certainly at my this day, I could still talk about it. Now, that 90-day story is what I continue to build the business in this very day, some 5.5 years later. And I built the 90-day story, or the 90-day tech story, is a short enough time to create some results, have an teaching, to break some new ranks, then a set up, to have some good leaders in the organization, and to have some other. That's the beautiful thing about a 90-day story. But what's also great about it is that it is a period of time, a segment of time that people focus, everybody can focus on 90 days. Okay, and so we're not asking, focus on a 3-to-5-year plan where they don't have success with their results in a short time that they can go successfully. 90 days is enough for the success, short enough period of time that each of us can focus in on, and it's enough time to measure what we've done and then build up. So, the big first step, we're talking about deep creating on a 90-day run. Now, a person might say something like, well, I got started with my first 90 days. I was focused, and I think competition wasn't plugged in, and my 90 days went by, and I didn't really get off to a good start. So, I thought, never lost that opportunity. We can start, we can press the exit button. If we had a great start, well, we could get a spur effect, another 90-day program. If we didn't get a good start, well, we can actually create our story at any given moment in time. In our next breath, we can actually create our first 90-day story. So we just spin our story. And for a while, we've been watching, dabbling, kind of part-time, but in the last 90 days, we plugged in, we got into gear, and we took everything from the script. We reached out to new people, and in the last 90 days, this is what's happened. Now, what a great time between the 90-day story. To work with and building them. So we talk about pressing the reset button. We talk about it because it is the nature of our business, part of the rhythm of our, and I am suggesting to everybody that's on this one this morning, maybe we'll expand on this concept tonight on the MIT program to encourage your team for another 90 days. Let that 90-day run finish off this period, go into the next cycle, move into September, then start on the weekend of last couple of weeks. push that I did set a whole bunch of new growth in my they lead by example. What you doing when you're training and or asking your team or encouraging your team to do. So burn it up, and then and a lot of other stuff that's built on with sidelines that's been trying here for the last 90 days. And now they're preparing to go for a left. Kind of starting to look into starting in a 4-city tour, followed by a DLC event, followed by a number of things happening in North America as well as for that. That 4-city tour starts with Lincoln, just outside of San Francisco. Next Monday, that's Monday. The next evening, we're in Austin, Texas. And the next evening after that, I believe Detroit, Michigan. So that's going to be the start of another 90 days. I inspired Superborn a week at back home. Doing a bit one day. Make sure they're at that event. Also, the event start. So, Dr. will be doing a little bit of work. The marathon will all be here on the 20th. Perfect. So, a lot going on. Now, that's just two items I'm connected to, but there's a lot of people who are connected to other events taking place around all these opportunities for us to bring in with guests for some of with new people who are expect to figure out how the company for this. Well, actually, they're paying for it from their profits. They're taking money that they're making and putting money on top of those profits that they're making, and they're paying out this X Factor money. Now, there's going to be some big checks. I mean, for one organization to break 3 diamonds, Sheena right here in Toronto, 1 in New York, and 1 in LA in a single cycle, is really something. So, I think that it's going to create enormous checks, those that volume in the process. I imagine that's taking place just not the only period the days that fight forward. I would think that probably a number of other stories out there that have experienced this kind of growth. So obviously, some people have set themselves up, set their teams up, and have been working, 24/7, from morning till night, doing presentations, talking to people, showing the plan, and sharing that would have dramatically faced their business in a short period of time, maybe in the last 90 days, in the last period, period. What this promotion has done, some businesses, some people believe that they could have accomplished it as they have an entire year of hard work. Just to put some perspective of what's possible in a short period of time. But my point is, again, refocus, resynchronize, press the system, get started, cycle, rewrite. We are coming up to the next hour call. That'll take place around the end of July, beginning of August. I guess the idea would be to be building towards that hour call. That the company will now take the forest fire that we created in the middle of summer and fan those flames in our metaphor and no specific detail. But I don't have. I only have based on a promise that we had last period. Everybody was in anticipation of, well, what is this promotion and what's going to happen? And people are looking back and saying, boy, if I would have taken action last period, created some new momentum going into the promotion, I would have hit the ground, not running, but sprinting. Well, the same goes for taking action today, for taking action this week. Is we hit the ground running, we advance, and who knows, maybe next cycle, it's possible, stands to reason, if the company is extended 4 times available to each new person, it stands to reason that a brand new person this cycle will have the opportunity to work with people next cycle, based on the fact that they seem to be extending it from one cycle to the next. Now, that being the case, we can assume that next period, whatever's going to happen is going to be good. So don't wait. Take advantage now. How do we do that? Well, we do that with our team calls, with emails, leadership calls, and in every other way. Make sure that we're completely plugged in, that everybody has the information going into the cycle process. People know exactly what they need to do. We don't want people to wait to try to figure out, what they're supposed to do next to create a successful result. Okay, we want people to plug in. So our job as the upside sponsor or as a leader to ensure people are armed with all the required to do what it is that they need to do. So that is the responsibility of the implement to ensure that information. That's really what I'm doing with this talk. Is making sure that everybody is absolutely informed. There be no gray areas. I didn't quite get it, or I didn't hear. I've repeated on this call, it's probably deeper going, I've got it. Right? Well, let's just make sure that everybody's got it. Because with that knowledge, the organization can then move forward very, very quickly. And that's the job of the sponsor and upline. So each of us must pass that down water gets to the end of the garden, so that everybody gets that information. The DLC meeting that's taking place at the end of this month in Salt Lake City will be a day for us to get together to synergize as to some of the content or the training at convention, some of the protocols at convention, as well as a little bit of leisure time. And yes, the DLC at the end of this convention will be disbanding, and so a new DLC will be put together and set in motion for 2014. And so all of that will be with all the new components that the company is putting together in taking us to the next level and growing the company. So a lot of exciting times. Next year, 2014, promises to be a ZJ reborn, a whole new company, a whole new political landscape, a whole new set of up-and-coming stars, new leaders, new people that are setting the pace. Even many of the old, the old incumbents, the old veterans of Egypt, a lot of them are, I'm going to say retired, but they're in a very comfortable mode now with the income that they've got, the business that they have, and some of the fastest growing people now in Zika are the brand new people. It's not the leaders. It's not the existing people. It's some of the newer people who are breaking new ranks and advancing up the compensation plan faster than some of the existing leaders. And that stands to reason as one's organization gets bigger, it becomes more difficult to have proportionate growth. Obviously, if a new person joins and goes from 10 people to 20 people, it's a lot easier for them to go from 10 people to 20 people than it is for me to go from 180,000 to 360,000, right? I would have to double the numbers of my team to have the same relative growth as a new person joining today who goes from 10 people to 20 people. It's exactly the same when you look at it in terms of relative or pro rata numbers. So many of the new up-and-coming stars are going to be some of the newer people or people who are in the lower ranks who are moving to the higher ranks than the higher ranked people going to the next level. And that's a great thing. And it also should tell each and every person that we have little or no competition so long as we're taking action. So I think the theme for this week is to press the reset button, take action, and get the maximum benefit from the X Factor program as it relates to advancing growth in each of our respective businesses. And with that, everybody, wish you a successful cycle 3, as even if the success of last cycle was a great thing. Do all that you can to help your teammates have a positive result coming into ZJ International. With that, we'll catch you on the Millionaires in Trading call tonight. Let's invite as many guests as we can tonight. Everybody that you've got in the funnel, everybody that you've prospected, get them on that call tonight. We'll make sure that at the end of that call they're joining your business. Continued success, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, the lines are... Actually, you know what? Before we open up the lines, any announcements from the field? If you're on the moderator line, any other announcements that you'd like to weigh in on? And go ahead if you're on the moderator line. All right. Nobody on the moderator line? That's great. Get you a stop. Thanks, everybody. The line's open.
Georgia. Great call. Traditional American Canyon, California. Thank you, David. Thank you, calling in. Thanks, David. Thank you, Ohio. Thanks, Thank you, David. Dr. Sheila, Ohio, California. Thank you,